So what's up everyone? In my last video, I reviewed Season 8, Episode 1 of the new Rick and Morty season, and let's just say I got a lot of things wrong. I spent way too much time complaining about the Evil Morty arc than I did talking about the actual new episode, so let's re-review the episode. Essentially, the premise of the episode is that Rick traps Morty and Summer in a Matrix-style simulation designed to punish them for stealing his phone charger. And unfortunately, Rick falls asleep by accident, so they end up living in the simulation for the equivalent of 17 years. And I have to be honest, this concept is actually really interesting. This is exactly the sort of thing that you'd catch Rick doing, both putting them in a simulation in the first place, and then also falling asleep and forgetting about them because he's drunk or something. And to be fair, they have done this concept before though, so I could see why some people might be tired of the whole simulation concept. I mean, just look at Season 1, Episode 4, Season 2, Episode 2, Season 6, Episode 2. They all deal in some way with some sort of simulation. But honestly, my only dislike with this episode isn't that it's another simulation episode, but instead it's really with the pacing itself, which I'll get into after continuing the plot explanation. So when you actually watch the episode, you'll realize that most of the runtime takes place after they return to reality and have to struggle with their trauma of their simulated lives. This is because, as we see throughout the episode, Summer ended up becoming a powerful CEO, while Morty had to endure both a criminal and a war-torn life. It becomes especially damaging when Morty watches the people around him die while also being unable to die himself because he will always end up coming back to life. Eventually, by the end of the episode, we see that Summer is sort of having a midlife crisis while Morty is basically just going batshit crazy. I mean, he locks Rick in the same sort of simulation, but instead about how you don't lock people in a simulation, and then drives this armored vehicle into a power plant, presumably hoping to completely destroy it. And really, this gets me into my main issue, which is the pacing of the episode. Because, in my opinion, if they were going to do an episode involving simulation, then they should have actually shown them in the simulation more. I mean, I don't mean like more clips, but I mean like more of the episode should have taken place in the simulation where we could have watched them figure out how to escape. It was just kind of weird to me that if they were going to do that concept, they were just going to show them basically like within just the first 5 minutes, they're gone and they're out, and then you just see everything that happens after the fact. And the fact that they were in there for so long ended up meaning nothing at the end of the story, because Rick just ended up wiping their memory at the end of the episode. So it's like if almost all of the episode was going to focus on what happened to them after getting out of the simulation, then why would their memories get erased at the end? Because then it's just like the entire episode's irrelevant. It never happened. It just kind of feels like you're making the episode irrelevant. Like they could have spent less time in the simulation as a whole, but shown it in the episode for longer so that it potentially could have caused some character development to some degree. But otherwise, other than that, I did find the humor and everything else about the episode to be as expected, and I am pretty interested to see what Rick and Morty has planned, especially with Evil Morty, since it's been forever since they actually had a full episode dedicated to him. And also, consider subscribing, because I'm planning on making a review for every episode of the new Rick and Morty season, and also I am going to be having some Switch 2 content coming out very soon. See you later.